everybody. That was a good game. Not the result the Kraken wanted, maybe the result that many of us expected, but Kraken played a very, very good Colorado Avalanche team, very, very close in this one. Kraken put in a heck of an effort. I don't think anybody can deny that. I don't think anybody could be upset with the effort that the Kraken had in this one. You can be upset with the end result, but Kraken played a really good game in this one. Like, there's not, we'll talk about things and what happened in it, but I mean, I, I don't think any of us expected the game to be as close as this was. Kraken to have leads at points. Like, this was overall, all things considered, a pretty good game for a Kraken team that is, as we talked about yesterday on the deep dive, they're really fighting for it. They're trying to stay competitive. They're trying to work their way through this difficult stretch that they're having. And I think tonight was no different. They really, really did put in the effort in this one, and they were able to do a good amount of things in this one. Some positives. Got a lot of shots on goals. Bees point out there in the comment section. They were able to score 3 goals, which is above average for them. So that is something. But yes, not enough at the end of the day to get it done against this Avs team. As we kick off Emerald City Hockey Postgame Live, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. And again, last Kraken home game here for a little bit. If you're listening to this, walking out of the arena, head on down to the Queen Anne Beer Hall, get your $5 smash burger, as you listen to postgame on your headphones. And also just want to let everybody know, but they do watch parties for the Seattle Torrent games, and they have Torrent specials as well. So want to throw that out there, as the Torrents are going to be taking over here at Climate Pledge Arena for the next little bit. 3 games in 5 days, something like that here at CPA. I'm really bummed that I had a planned trip out of town for the holidays, but that Torrent team is looking good. Been at practice last couple of days. They're looking good. It's going to be a lot of fun with them. All right, into this game with the Kraken against the Avalanche and what they were able to do. Be kicking us off. I know statistically maybe it wasn't the best, Gruby, but he had a great game regardless. Really kept them in it. And yeah, Philip Grubauer always plays Colorado tough. Seemed to really know what they wanted to do in a lot of sequences. Obviously, he spent a lot of time there with a large chunk of the guys that make up this current Avs team. And it felt like, certainly like on the power play, the one-timer from Nathan MacKinnon, he was always on top of that. He always knew that it was coming. He was always able to kind of be there for those. He really, he was on top of things in this one. I certainly agree with the decision to start Gru against them, and I don't think Grubauer is the reason that they lost this game. I think Grubauer played very strong in this one. Rodney, this team is horrible. They're not winning, and that's horrible. But I don't know that I'd go as far as to say that the team itself is horrible. I mean, like I talked about, they had an incredible effort tonight. They played Colorado closer than a lot of other teams do. This is a team that, again, they're struggling. They have every reason in the world right now to basically quit, and they're not. They're going out there and they're competing hard each and every shift. I think that they did some good things as far as shaking things up. And let's also remember that they are dealing with some sort of illness bug going through the room. And I do wonder, given the effort that they had tonight, given the strategy they had to try to, keep the top Colorado players off the board as much as possible. I mean, Nathan MacKinnon's still able to get 3 points in this one, but they did a good job against that line through most of the evening. I do wonder if they were just feeling better, if that would have made the difference in this one when the game was close there in the third period. And we'll never know, but I think that they're trying to work through things. Again, are they a team on the level of the Colorado Avalanche? No, I'm not going to argue that point, but this is a team that, again, proved tonight that they can, on any given night, play teams tough, put themselves in a position to try to win the game. And, if not for maybe illness and bounces, that sort of thing, they could have tonight. And as Invader's saying, at least it was exciting and we didn't get blown out. I mean, I think like that is like a big thing, right? Like, given the struggle and the rough patch that the Kraken are in coming into this game against a Colorado Avalanche team that has only lost 2 games in regulation, this is in a lot of ways a moral victory. And I know, again, right now the team is struggling. People don't want moral victories. We want actual victories. You want actual points in the standings, because that's what this team has just been starved of at the moment. But for a lot of reasons, I'll take this game. It was a fun game. It was a higher event game. Kraken were competitive. They had that effort, and I know, not sure what that is, but I know we talked about this yesterday on the pod. But the effort and everything like that from this group, like they really are not giving up, despite the fact that they're not getting the results right now. And I can't stress enough that like any other Kraken teams, I have no idea what's going on down there. In the years past, we've seen the Kraken kind of give up, and this group is not giving up. They're staying engaged. They're going out there. They're battling. They're working on things. They're improving things. The power play had the most player movement that we've seen potentially ever in 5 years of Kraken hockey. They've been working on that. I've been talking about that through, post-game debriefs, things like that. But tonight it felt like it was kind of hitting that next level. So I'm really excited to see that. Like, there was a lot of positives from this game that I think, they can take as they go on the road now. And the schedule is certainly easier than the team you had to play tonight. And I think they could apply that and potentially go into the Christmas break with some momentum. Hopefully, I'll knock on MDF. I'll cross my fingers, but I think that's a big important one. And as Andrew's saying too, we didn't embarrass ourselves completely. I don't think they embarrassed themselves at all. I think they put together a really, really strong performance in this one, and that's the most that you can ask for as a fan, right? Like that's what you want to see from them, and I think they did a good job of showing us that one tonight. Maddie, I really like the effort. The Newman Wright Kako line was clicking. I'm not mad at that game. So specifically on that line, I'm just gonna say that they're here and cheering for me. That's what I'm gonna go with. I don't know if anybody else can hear that, by the way, but it's very loud cheering. With that young kind of line there with Newman, Kako, and Shane Wright centering them, we got to see this line a couple games ago. I was a big fan of it then. I think I mentioned it on the debrief. It felt like the kind of line that, like, look, if you just gave them a little bit more time, I think things could kind of come together here. It felt like they were all kind of played well together. Yanni Newman wants to be a shooter. He wants to throw that puck on net. Capo Kako, obviously a great kind of net side player. Shane Wright, a good player in that low slot net front area. So it was like, okay, this is the kind of line that if you're able to get Yanni Newman the puck, he's going to start shooting at the net. You've got Shane Wright and you've got Capo Kako there in positions to either screen the goalie or really battle for it. And sure enough, that's the case tonight as Yanni Newman throws puck on net, goes off the post there. Shane Wright's net side, he's able to battle for it and pick up a goal, his 6th on the season. That feels like what this line could really bring. It brings good energy. It's players that all have size, willingness to use that size. They want to be good forecheckers. It's something that they all take pride in and or are working on in the case of Yanni Newman. And he wants to show the coaching staff that he can, in fact, do it so that he gets to stay in the lineup and get more playing time. And I think like it's a hungry line. That's basically what I'm talking around. And I know I'm going to stop talking about them because I know RJ really wants to talk about them once he joins us here in a little bit. But I'm such a huge fan of that line. I said it the other night, but this is a line that they need to leave together for a little while, let them build confidence, let them build chemistry. I think it could be the line that's kind of adds into the lineup what they've been missing for a little while here. So I am definitely a fan of that one. Jason, although he hasn't been rewarded for it and even got benched, I feel like Newman has really stepped up his play over the last 4 games. I think things are starting to click and good things will come. I'm with you. We obviously just talked about the line as a whole. As for Yanni Newman, I thought that he's been playing really well. I don't totally agree with the decision to bench him, in the last game. I talked about that on the deep dive. I think you need your young players out there kind of playing, right? Like, I understand it. It's like, okay, if you're going to do it, okay. But he needs to be playing games. He's exactly what this team lacks: a shooter, somebody with goal scoring touch, all of that stuff. Happy that he's in the lineup and happy he got power play time tonight. How about that, everybody? He got power play time tonight. That was really cool to see. Weren't able to really get him set up to use his one-timer on the power play tonight, but I love the fact that he was out there, and that to me signals that Lane Lambert is seeing the hard work that he's putting in, and Yanni Newman's doing the right things through practice and stuff like that after that benching, and Lane Lambert's taking note of that, and he wants to go out there give them that opportunity. So really, really happy about that. Dave with the super chat. Thank you very much, Dave. Always appreciated. Darn. I'll censor myself. Dylan and Chad, our boys, came to play tonight. Super exciting hockey. It was absolutely awesome. It was absolutely awesome, Dave. But just like your super chat and just like you are always coming in with the positive energy and the positive vibes, really appreciate it from you. But again, like that is the story of this game. If there's one takeaway from this game, it's that the Kraken showed up to try to upset the Avs. They did a good job hanging with them for a long, long period of time, longer than most teams are able to. And yes, they weren't able to get it done at the end of the day, but they had that effort. Like this is one of those games where I don't think anybody can question their effort after this game. Like they played well enough. You shouldn't kind of have a question about that effort. And again, they're still sick. Like that's still going around the room right now. So yeah, they're doing good. Cheryl's also a fan of the Newman Wright Kako line. Feels like they're really building some chemistry. I agree. Again, we've got a table discussion on them for RJ because I know that's something he wants to talk about. Christian, happy with the effort, but not going to lie, I was hoping for an actual win with that effort, especially against the Avs. Shout out to Gru playing a hell of a game. Did play a hell of a game. And yeah, again, I think it's one of those most games, if you have this effort, you're going to walk out of the building with 2 points, or certainly you have more success than what you end up getting out of this game against Colorado. That being said, I mean, I was discussing this with Zame of Davy Jones' locker room. Is this Colorado team potentially the best team in the regular season that the Kraken have ever gone up against? I mean, we're talking about being in mid-December. They only have 2 regulation losses. They've got a goal differential that's astronomically high. They do just about everything well except the power for some reason. We'll get to that later. But this is arguably the best team in the regular season through all 5 years the Kraken have existed and played hockey that they've ever had to go out there and face. And you played them tough, right? Like this is a 1-goal game if you take the empty netter out of the equation. Like it's a good effort. Like it's solid. Like I think you could be happy about that as a fan, or at least content. Like this is one of those games where yes, they don't get any points in the standings, but I think you can leave it and feel good about something, or at least not feel bad, right? Sometimes good is just the lack of feeling bad, and I certainly think that should be the case for everybody tonight in this one. So that's where I'm going with this one. That's certainly how I'm choosing to take this game. Kraken Hawk Husky is such a more entertaining product tonight. More of that, please. Yeah, and I think that it didn't have to devolve into a track meet either, because this is the worry. If the Kraken are going to start to play more aggressive, try to get more shots, try to get more quality shots, and they're going to open up the system a little bit more, that structure that Lane Lambert has installed. The worry is then that the game becomes a back and forth affair, and they probably on most nights against most teams are not going to have the horses to keep up in like a wide open back and forth game, right? Like that's just not the Kraken's MO. It's just not what this roster is built for. That being said, I thought they did a good job of opening things up, allowing themselves to get chances, allowing themselves to work around in the offensive zone while still shooting the puck, because that's, something that they needed to work on. And I thought they did a good job of it tonight without totally sacrificing their defensive structure. This game did not turn into a track meet that often against a team that wants it to be a track meet. Like Colorado, certainly with the Nathan McKinnon line, wants these games to be track meets. Like that's a fast line that wants to play with pace. The Kraken did a great job of limiting that from them, and then also being able to up the ante offensively. And I think that was really impressive. That might be the most impressive thing, arguably, that the Kraken did all of tonight. And so I think that's a really positive one. So as long as the Kraken are able to do that, I think then you could start seeing wins, more exciting hockey, not giving up too many goals going back the other way. And against most teams, not this Colorado Avalanche team, but against most teams, that can be enough. So hopefully we see that kind of play when the Kraken hit the road here for their game on Thursday in Calgary. Bob, I'm so upset that we lost, but I feel like they really upped their game today, and I hope the effort keeps up so we can start winning again. I think that's the direction we're going in for sure. And then Left Hand asking, did Marchment rally the Avs with that fight? Now that's a good question, and I do wonder about that, because obviously they're able to pick up a goal not too long after that, and things kind of spiraled from there. Totally unclear, not totally unclear, but like specifically unclear what kind of led to that. I think that was a moment for the Avs to kind of regroup. And I think certainly having Brandon Montour off the ice was not good for the Kraken, and that opens things up for the Avalanche. I mean, we've talked about it so many times. Brandon Montour, arguably, if not just objectively at this point, the best player for the Seattle Kraken. So I think losing him because of that scuffle did hurt the Kraken, and that would have helped the Avalanche. But I think at that point in the game, given how hard the Kraken were fighting, every break, whether every TV timeout, every intermission, all of that stuff were opportunities for the Avs to rally and kind of just be like, look, do we want these guys to beat us? Right. Like, I think that was an opportunity for them to do that. Yes. Czar happy that they forced the Avs to really try tonight. So that in itself is a bit of a moral victory. It is, right? Moral victory. I'll take the moral victory right now. Let's see, Sean, maybe the eruption in our arena like that by the opposing non-original six team can motivate some changes from the Fat Cats upstairs in this organization. There was a lot of Avalanche fans in this building. You're right, Sean. I don't know how the TV broadcast picked it up, if it picked it up, but the cheers for the Avalanche in this one when they would score, RJ and I were talking about it, potentially the loudest visiting like cheers that we've ever heard. It's not great. It's not a great look. I mean, you could certainly argue that they rivaled when the Kraken would score. If you take the horn out of the equation, obviously that ups the ante quite a bit and certainly sways some things. It was a lot, and it's not a great look or feel. It's a midweek game though, close to Christmas time. I know lots of people are out of town. I know lots of people that had season ticket holders and stuff that weren't going to be at this game. So I will kind of chalk it up to that, but it is going to be something that kind of like continue to look at when the Kraken come back home at the end of the year. What sort of crowds we do see, and we'll kind of like go from there on things. And certainly, if the Kraken are still struggling going into the Christmas break, there we might have to stomach some stuff like this again, as unfortunate as that is. Sean also saying, man, I hate losing Montour. That feels like the straw if he's out for any real time. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to know much tonight, if anything. Maybe we'll get some sort of designation at least from Lane Lamberts. We'll ask RJ when he joins us. But yes, if Montour is going to miss time, it'll be really tough for me to stay positive as far as the outlook for the team. I mean, Calgary is a winnable game. The California teams are all kind of all over the place on any given nights. You play great in LA every time you're there. Losing Montour would hurt a lot though. Like more than anybody, losing Brandon Montour would really hurt. So hopefully it's just something that's not too bad. Just kept him out for the rest of this game because it kind of happened late in this one, and Brandon Montour will be able to travel with the team and get back out there soon. I see Kraken Queen also like crash out if he's hurt. I feel you. I'll be right there with you. Maddie, I got a bingo. What more can I ask for? You got a bingo in like multiple directions. You nearly blacked out the card there on Discord, which, by the way, shout out to Maddie for doing the bingos in the Discord game chats. If nobody has checked those out, they're a lot of fun. Do a great job on those bingo cards, Maddie. The squares and the topics for them are fantastic. They're very broadcast related as well, based on who's calling the game. So you have lots of fun stuff in there, especially when John and Edzo and JT are together, the three of them. You get some really nice, good squares in there. So I'm going to pump our Discord, but really it's all because of you, Maddie. Some more worry there for the Montour as one would expect. Stratic, what was your favorite goal? I think we'll wait for RJ on that one. I believe I know which one his is going to be. I already talked about it. I like the Shane Wright goal because it's just that line kind of doing what they're good at. It's all of them being down by the goal front, battling, winning battles. I love that from Shane Wright too. It shows the passion and the effort that he's really playing with right now to go out there and get that goal. That was a good one. I like the no quit from Jordan Eberle though as well on his goal. That like that's the kind of play that, you know, veteran player like Jordan Eberle is able to make and stay there and get his rebound. But I think for me, it's probably the Shane Wright goal, just from that effort and crashing the net and everything like that. Just all the things that we've talked about for so long with the Kraken, and especially with the young guys kind of needing to learn and step up and do. And it was all on display for that one. Sean, that was really fun. As someone who knows the only real hope for top tier talent is the draft, they'll take losses like that every night right now. I certainly think if they're able to play like this, win or lose, I think fans are going to be a lot more excited, kind of as we talked about earlier. Cheryl, eye test, Grew looked good, had a lot of good saves. Grubauer's really locked in right now. If I was Lane Lamberts, obviously you're going to have a back-to-back to start off next week, Monday and Tuesday. So you're going to be seeing multiple goalies there, but I really wouldn't mind a rotation right now going into the Christmas break. I think that anytime you can kind of spare Joey the over usage, I think it's a good thing for him. And Grubauer's playing well. Like, again, he allowed 4 goals tonight. Not all of those on him. You look at the Nathan McKinnon one late, right? The that was the go-ahead one, I believe. Just a bad bounce off of Lars, right? Kind of off his backside. Like, it was stuff like that that was kind of getting Grubauer in this one. It was either defensive breakdowns in front of him, or it was bad bounces. But Grubauer still looks dialed in. He's not quite having the same ridiculous numbers that he was having during the first part of the stretch that he's been on here, but he's still playing extremely solid. And I think the team should be playing confidently in front of him, knowing that he's back there and that he's going to be able to make the saves that they need him to make there. Seems like they showed up awake and ready to play for the first time in a long time. From Caitlin, yeah, they did. They did. Like, again, you cannot question the effort for this one. Like you just can't. Like, and I know when we talked about that, I talked about that after the last game on the debrief, and I got some pushback. Talked about it on deep dive, got some pushback. I just don't think this team has an effort problem right now. I think that they've got other issues for sure, but effort is not one of them. And then everybody's talking about yes, the loud cheers. The crowd is gone of Avs fans is what it was. So that is good. That is good. Don't have to deal with that anymore. Ricky, at least it was entertaining. 51 plus 38 is the best combo on the team. Ridiculous time on ice differential is what's going to cost a lot of jobs. Sell the vets, play the kids the only way. And I know you've been on this forever, Ricky. Like, credit to you. You've been talking about this for a very long time, whether it's in post games, leaving comments on deep dives, all of that stuff. I mean, you know, you have not let this issue go. Good on you. Let me see what the ice time was in this one, because I am curious what that Wright Newman line ended up getting. I mean, Shane Wright still only 13:37, had the goal in this one. I thought he was playing really well. He played really well. Yanni Newman up at 11:26. That's pretty solid for him. I think the power play time helped with that one. I don't totally hate that number. And then Capo Caco at 13:58, because he gets some of that special teams work as well. Should that line play more? I think if the game started this way against Calgary, that line would play more. I think that in this one, Lane Lambert still had to worry about the Nathan McKinnon line going out there, and I understand him being hesitant to throw Shane Wright's line out there against that group, or even the Brock Nelson line, given what they were able to accomplish as well. Like, I understand what he was doing in this one. I'm with you the vast majority of the time, Ricky, but against a team like the Avalanche, especially because you were defending leads and stuff at times, I kind of get what he was going for. Would I have done it to this extreme? Probably not. Like, I probably would have still played them more, especially because there was a couple times where that Shane Wright line was matched up against Nathan McKinnon's line, and they played well. Like, they played them tough. So I think I would probably play them more than what Lane did, but I understand for tonight's circumstances why he did what he did. Robert asking, who would you say is the best two-way forward on the Kraken? That's a really interesting question, because they have so many of them. And there's so many guys like Matty Beniers, I would argue, is their best defensive forward, but does he have the offense to kind of back that up, or is there somebody else that's kind of there? Really, I would say Brandon Montour is the best two-way player, but you specifically asked for forward, so I will try to answer your question. It might be Capo Caco for me, like, just as far as being above average on both sides of the ice, I would argue that it's probably him. Um, but even though he doesn't reach, say, top 2 level in either regard, so I don't know if that's the answer that you're kind of looking for there, but that is the answer that I have to give for you. Kraken Queen, I feel like the missed penalty shot was a turning point. Frustrated at us not having a reliable shooter to turn to in such circumstances. I do think that was a little bit of a turning point. I think if the Kraken are able to score there, obviously you're able to go up and kind of have that lead and just things are on much more solid ground for you. I will say this, as with Jordan Eberle having to take that shot in that circumstance, the Kraken had to choose somebody who was on the ice when the penalty occurred. When Josh Manson covered that puck with his hand in the crease, they had to go with somebody who was there. I know we got lots of tweets coming at us, saw it on the Discord. Why didn't they go with Freddie Gaudreau there, somebody who's more reliable in the shootout for the penalty shot? They had to choose somebody who was on the ice. Their best option on the ice, I do believe, was Jordan Eberle. So I don't have issues with Jordan Eberle taking the shot, given that circumstance of them having limited options from which they could choose from. So that was the situation there. But I am with you, Kraken Queen. That was a huge momentum shift in favor of Colorado to be able to kill that, make the save on the penalty shot, finish killing off the penalty. Those are huge moments, because if you're able to get that, by the way, if the Kraken had scored on that penalty shot, the power play for the Kraken would have continued because it was a separate penalty. The penalty shot was related directly to the Josh Manson penalty. That is a separate issue. They would have continued on the power play as they had before. They just would have had a goal on the board. And so, again, like, that was a huge moment for the Kraken to kind of step up and try to put that game away, and they were not able to do it. And then that momentum found its way over to the Colorado bench with Dave Hackstall there. Shout out to Dave Hackstall. Kraken had a good video on the Twins forum during the first period. Gave a nice wave to the crowd and everything like that. So it showed a lot of personality in that video. We were all kind of looking at each other up here on the press bridge going, where was that when he was here with us? We never got to see fun, happy Hackstall. He saved that for inside the locker room. We didn't get that guy. But yeah, that was good stuff. Dave with another super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Dave. I'm with you, Ricky. Play the kids. OMG, for crying out loud. If only the fans could put pressure on a coach, GM, and the franchise. Trust me, I think they are putting pressure on the franchise. There was free ice cream during the first intermission tonight to everybody in the building. That, to me, seems like they're listening and they kind of know the vibes right now in the fan base. So I think they are listening to what the fans have to say and everything like that. But yes, I'm with you, Dave. Thanks again for the super chat. I'm with Ricky. Got to play the kids, as we talked about. Got to transition into the transition year. That's just what you got to do. It's what you got to do. Christian, apparently ECH postgame lives are filled in front of a live studio audience. Exactly. That's good stuff. It was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. Pablo, how you doing? I'm doing well, Pablo. Hope you're doing well as well. And everything. Yeah, I'm just getting in chat to all the cheering stuff there. So happy about that. Sean, when can we stop the Chandler Stevenson slander? He is on a heck of a run. I mean, this makes it 6-game point streak, I think, for Chandler Stevenson. Look, he doesn't do everything well, right? Like there are still issues there with Chandler Stevenson, but he's on a really good run right now. Played against the Nathan McKinnon line, had that matchup for most of the evening, was able to limit them for most of the evening. This was a good Chandler Stevenson game. I'm with you on that. He also was looking to shoot, especially after he got the bounce on the power play goal that he got. After that, whenever he was out there on the power play, he had his stick raised in the air. He was feeling it. He wanted to get shots. Kraken weren't always really able to get him the puck after that, but I liked seeing that from him. I liked seeing him play with like a little bit more shooter's confidence, because he is not a shot volume player. That's just never who he's been throughout his career. So whenever I think he's feeling it and he wants to take the shot, I think the Kraken should feed him and they should let him take the shot in those circumstances. So yeah, don't want to like say that it's slander. I don't want to open up the whole Chandler Stevenson can of worms. But he played well tonight. I'm totally like fine saying that. RJ is just about to join us, so like I see like Dave's thing about the chemistry for that young kids line. I'll save that for when RJ's on here. I'm gonna ignore Julia talking about beating me in fantasy hockey because the Blackwoods win tonight. You can all boo her. Julia had to be rooting for the Avs because of that, I'm sure. So everybody boo Julia about that. Robert Esky, do the Kraken have a forward who excels at taking the puck away from opponents? I mean, again, forward wise, it's a little tougher. Brandon Montour is probably their best like poke check takeaway, man, steal the puck guy. As for forwards, I mean, Matty Beniers does a good job poking the puck away. He would probably be my answer to that question as we go ahead and bring RJ in here. RJ, took a little bit for you to join us. Does that mean that there was lots of conversation had amongst the players and Lane Lambert?
No, in fact, quite the opposite. And that's what I need to report here. I think a significant shift has happened after this game. This media availability was unlike anything I've seen covering this team. And we'll start with Jordan Eberle. He was the one player that we got. That media availability, which that hasn't really happened before.
Yeah.
That media availability lasted about a minute and a half. Very quietest I've heard him. Very short answers. Very somber mood in the room. I mean, walking in there, Matty Beniers just had a 1,000-yard stare, just looking into nothing, maybe trying to process what happened and just where the team is at right now. And then Lane Lambert, that was the most striking thing. Lane Lambert's entire presser lasted under a minute, and there were only, I believe, 3 questions to him. The total amount of words in his final 2 answers was 3 words. And yeah, only one person was allowed to ask questions. It was Bob Condor with the team. No other questions were taken, and Lambert left. So very short, clearly a grumpy look on his face, and it just feels like the mood around this team has taken a sharp turn. And we've seen the losing streak. Look, this losing streak has been building and building. It's never looked like this after a game. Something is different with this team. This seems like some kind of a breaking point.
That's really interesting after this game, because like I've spent a lot of this game talking about the effort that the Kraken had.
I figured you would have, right?
It was a solid effort. We talked about it before you went down there. That's really interesting to hear. I mean, what did Lambert say? Obviously, he didn't say much, but like, what was it?
Right. So the first question, I mean, I can go through the entire thing.
Yeah.
The first question from Bob was about the game in general, and then about the right line. And Lambert said, basically on the effort, it wasn't good enough. We make a big mistake in the third on that final kill. We cannot make that mistake. Simply not good enough. You can't be doing that. Not good enough. And then and the question was a 2-parter, and then asked about the Shane Wright line. And then Bob kind of followed up on the Shane Wright line, and then Lambert didn't have a ton to say on them. They were all right. And then question about Montour. Is there any update on Brandon Montour? No. And then it was Grubauer first. Then you might like how Grubauer played. How would you see for him? He was fine. Any update on Montour? No. Cut it off.
Wow.
No questions from anybody else. And you could tell in the way he was answering, he just wasn't going to talk.
Right. So I mean,
like you can. And by the way, Sound of Hockey and Darren posted the video of the entire thing on social media. You can go on Twitter and watch it for yourself. It's less than a minute.
That's so interesting. And I mean, so many people in chat, that's a weird response after this one, like genuinely kind of confused as I am, because like we talked about, this was not a terrible game for them. Like they have played worse during this stretch in which they have struggled than they played tonight. It's odd to me that this would be the game that was the breaking point. I mean, I know they have to go on the road, but this doesn't feel like the game that should have been the breaking point.
Right, exactly. And you look at all the games from this losing streak in this last month that they've really had. This is far from the worst. I mean, if you factor in their opponent and how good their opponent was. I thought it was an admirable effort against a team that is much, much better than them. And that's what I was going to get on here and say before all that happened. I was ready to kind of praise them for how they played tonight. And I kind of expected Lambert to. I mean, I think there have been games on this where they've Kraken have played a lot worse, and there's been a lot more inexcusable things that Lambert has said, well, we're doing the right things, we're playing well, the effort's there. And I haven't always, agreed with him on some of that stuff. And to the general positive take, yeah, this wouldn't be the game that I picked. But my guess is that just, again, from looking around the locker room, it's hard to, explain if you weren't one of the people to just walk in there. And if you didn't, see Lambert in person there. But my guess is that this game, for whatever reason, this game, I think it's finally sunk in for this team. All the stuff that really we were saying on the podcast on Monday, and look, the reality section, the first like 20 to 30 minutes of the podcast saying, look, this is not a playoff team. They tried to luck their way into maybe getting that last wild card spot. They tried to kind of game the system. They tried to be that team of destiny. But I mean, you and I talked about it on the podcast. We're like, let's face it, they're just not. I'm sorry, they're not good enough to do it. It's the luck has run out. It's not going to work this year. And it's easy for you and I as media to kind of make that conclusion, especially after having watched this team for the last couple of years, for their whole existence. But when you're actually in that room and whenever that realization finally hits, I imagine it's going to hit pretty hard. And it sure felt like it hit today, just from judging from everybody's reaction. I that's the only thing I can really, guess or make of it.
It's really, really interesting. I'll get to the Dave super chat in just a second. I want to follow up with this one from Maddie. Somebody's getting traded. Speculation. My tinfoil hat is on. I mean, maybe like I do wonder if maybe there was some sort of mandate from higher up, like coming back from Utah or something like that, about getting points before you go on the road or before you get to the Christmas break. I don't know that anything would have come down from like the front office like that, but based on what you're saying, like I understand why Maddie would have that response. Like it's certainly something that I'm thinking about now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a trade. When does the holiday freeze begin?
Friday.
It's real soon. Is it Friday? Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we happen to see a trade before that holiday freeze on Friday. It's just after this game, it just felt like a turning point. And I did see some of the players. Again, it wasn't everybody who was miserable. I mean, I should report, I saw a few of the players talking with Dave Haxtell after the game, and shaking his hand. And Adam Larson looked so happy to be talking to him. A lot of the guys seemed happy to kind of reunite with Dave Haxtell and hang out with him there. And again, I think he was well liked in that room and all that stuff. So not everyone was just miserable after the game, but not the vibes around this team are not good right now. I can tell you that.
It's so weird. I mean, you get to go play Calgary next. Like I would have at least
Calgary and San Jose. Those are winnable games,
right? Yeah. Like you played well tonight. You would think that you could keep it together for those two games. So I mean, interesting. Like I almost feel like I want to call it a victory in Calgary now. Like just because again they're due and it's a bad team. But I don't know. It's really interesting. Go for it.
No, go ahead. I wonder how they're going to respond to this. I've got a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, I mean, that game on Thursday is definitely going to be a must tune in. And I believe it's our live game commentary. So
it is.
Might be a good time to hop over to the Patreon and join us for that one. If you're not a member, good time for the 7-day free trial. Dave with the super chat here. RJ, hope this slaps a smile on your face after that locker room experience with the big super chat there from Dave.
Well, it definitely does. Thank you, Dave. I needed something to smile about after seeing that. That was, it was kind of a sad scene, and we were all, not so much frowning, but just, oh, okay. That kind of reaction from the media corps. I mean, there were other questions lined up for Lambert, and it was just cut off. And they're like, whoa, okay. So no, it helps. Thank you, Dave. It's and it helps to be with everyone here and get a smile back on my face after that. But I was shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked hearing you say that, and I can't imagine what the room must have been like. Sure, it was not the most comfortable experience. Striatic, that's an odd look for a fan base looking for some response, and it is. Like, I mean, I guess it's one that some fans will have been looking for, right? Like, if the feeling that the team is taking this seriously, but again, it just feels so odd after this game, especially when one of the big things that the fan base has been arguing about everywhere across social media has been the idea of effort. And it felt like your best effort game in so long. Like if this happened after the Buffalo game, I would 1000%
Oh
understand.
yeah,
Right? Like that
totally.
seems like the appropriate time, not after this one. But yeah, I don't know.
And,
It'll
and
be
I wonder
interesting.
if they, yeah, and I wonder if they after the Buffalo game, this was kind of supposed to be the response game,
Right.
where like, look, come to Jesus moment. We just lost to Buffalo. Got to go out and play a good game the next game, and they do, and it felt like they emptied the tank and they still couldn't get the win. I would caution against maybe having Colorado be the game to do that, just because like you can
That's
play
the
pretty
thing.
well and they will beat you.
Right. Like they beat everybody. That's just what they do. I was talking, I already talked about this already on here, but I was talking with Zay with Davy Jones Locker during the second intermission. Was tonight the best regular season team they've ever had to go up against?
I mean, it very well might be. I mean, the Avs are all kinds of good, and it felt a little bit like they were trying to feel out how much effort they needed to put into this one.
Uh-huh.
And so there was that element too. And I think the Avs have gotten so good at this. I was talking with our friend Kate Jeffy at the Seattle Times, because of course she used to cover Colorado, and
Right.
she says this is something they've kind of been not like intentionally working on, but it's something they've been doing for years now and kind of perfecting, is knowing how much to give in each regular season game that you're going to need. And I mean, they did it perfectly. They kind of turned it on the third and did exactly as much as they needed to.
Yeah. It just I'm with Maddie. Also, they played the Avs. Like it just feels like the wrong game to
You
kind of
have to
have all
go
this
into
stuff.
that being
You have to
mentally
know.
prepared to lose.
Yeah. Like you would think anyway, right?
Yeah.
And then Ricky, maybe Bottrell read him the right act yesterday. I mean, like again, that's kind of something you just touched on. It is possible, I guess, right? Like
Well,
that response does feel like there was a message from somebody beyond just Lane Lambert. If the players are feeling that way and Lane Lambert's feeling that way, that means somebody else all spoke to everybody before this one.
and I could see that. I mean, look, the reaction from Lambert, it looked like a coach who is, maybe thinks he doesn't have a lot of job security and that maybe he might be fired.
Which is
Now that I don't,
crazy.
which is
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
because I don't think that's the case. Like they're not
Right.
getting rid of
There's
Lambert.
no
They can't have
way.
a fourth coach in 4 years. I think he's got a ton of job security. So I'm not implying anything with that. But the way he reacted looked like a coach
Right.
that would be in that position. I do wonder too if there's a larger element of maybe organizational embarrassment here. And what really drove it home for me, and I talked to you about this up in the press bridge, how loud the Avs fans were tonight in
Wow.
the building.
I talked
There
about
was
it.
okay, you talked about it, but
Yeah.
after the first goal, after the empty, there was a roar that came from the crowd. There were so many Avs fans in the building tonight. And in the larger picture, when you've lost 9 of your last 10 and away fans are taking over your building, and it is noticeable, and people are talking about it, and if you're there, you can see it. All the Kraken top brass, they're up there in the press box. They can see it. That might be a larger context to it as well.
Right. I think there's that component of it. I already talked about it and mentioned it briefly. You and I talked about it during the game. They gave everybody in the building free ice cream. It's generally not something you're doing if you're not trying to like kind of raise spirits for everybody. So that's another hint that they're feeling this way. And we know about this because there was a discussion that took place on the Discord earlier today. And I know this from, Julia and all that kind of stuff. Right now is the time that they're starting to reach out to season ticket holders about next season. If they're expiring, this is the 5th year for everybody who bought 5-year plans back when the team came into being. And remember, we went through this a couple years ago because back when they started, right, the 3 big packages that everybody bought were 3, 5, and 7-year plans for season tickets. And we went through this when the 3-year plans came up, and a lot of those people did not renew. And that's, in part why this year we saw such a decrease in ticket prices, them slashing those prices and trying to, recognize that the price they were asking to get into the building was not necessarily matched with the quality of play. It's continued this year, certainly during this stretch. And it sounds like, so again, based on the limited sample size of the people in the Discord, the people on those 5-year plans kind of in that same boat that people were with the 3-year plans. Only now you have 2 additional years where you can point at the team and say, look, you're just not performing. You can't ask me to pay this, second highest. It's no longer the second highest in the league, but certainly like top 10 even. You can't ask me to pay top 10 prices to get into this building. And also I can look at the resale market and see that the person sitting next to me who bought, somebody else's season tickets got in for half the price I paid. Like at some point that will just give, and you're going to run into the situation that you have tonight where if season ticket holders are going to try to just resell their tickets or just not have those season tickets, it's going to be a lot of visiting fans coming in and taking over that building.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard, just the two of us have heard from plenty of fans in the community and season ticket holders that said, yeah, even for the game tonight, I'm just going to eat the tickets tonight. I can't sell them for anything reasonable. I'm just not going to go. We've heard plenty of that recently. It is a problem for this group, and you can bet the front office is feeling that everyone all the way down is feeling that. And I think it's kind of come to a head here. It was a big gamble. I know it's like podcast stuff, but it was such a big gamble to try and go the whole defense first, claw our way into the final playoff spot type of thing, not focus on the youth. And it's coming up bust. You know, that they've lost that gamble. And so now they got to kind of pick up the pieces.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. Czar here has an opinion on what could have been the situation here. It's not the right word for it, but an alternative for why things kind of went down the way they did for you. Said, I think that somber reaction might be related to perhaps a bad prognosis on Montour, and they're upset about that rather than performance. I guess it's
thought about
possible.
that too. Or that could be part of it. I mean, it could be everything that we're talking about. It could be another thing on top of it.
Right. If it's something bad for him, right? Like the initial idea is that it's bad and he's going to miss time. It would be impossible for the players and certainly Lane Lambert. Like they know how much he means to this team. Like if he goes down on top of all the injuries they're already dealing with, yeah, I would feel like, okay, the season's like finally gone. Like that would be it.
He is the player they can least afford to lose. I think he has been the Kraken's best player this season. They cannot afford to lose him at all for any long stretch of time. By the way, I mean, we don't know what the injury is. Of course, Lambert had the one word no on an update for him. But our friend Curtis Crabtree did catch that on that video that I posted, with Montour and the burn scrub. It seemed like Montour was holding his kind of hand, wrist area, some kind of thing like that. Might have just been hurt from all the punching of Brett Burns or something. But you did catch that as just a possible place it could be. But we'll find out more the next couple days.
Yeah, I mean, I already talked about it. Like if he doesn't travel, that's a really bad sign. So we'll see. But I do, I think there could be something to that theory, Czar, for sure. And thank you for throwing that out there. Lots of talk about the Hackstall, right? Like the Hackstall is the reason they played better in this one. I mean, I'm just kind of at a loss for words. It seems like most people are too. Like that. Like this really has shaken a lot of what we were up to. Obviously, it's not your fault.
I figured the vibes would be probably fairly good going into this, and I'm sorry to just bring it all down, but I just got to be honest about what I just saw. Like,
yeah, no, you have to. Bryce, this makes me feel less confident about a victory. I'm too used to seeing the somberness followed by worse efforts, but hopefully this is different. I mean, again, Calgary is like one of the only teams that's as bad as you are offensively. And like, if you can shut them down, I think you can outscore them enough, right? Again, maybe not if Brandon Montour's not going to be playing, but I do feel like Calgary is a great bounce back opponent. Hopefully they rally tomorrow. And, I'm assuming they're traveling tomorrow. That would generally track. Hopefully they're able to rally on that plane ride or something and get ready for that game in Calgary. Cause I do feel like that's a really good opportunity to try to just get something going.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, this game, it might feel like you're playing with a weighted bat and then you go pick up the normal bat against Calgary and it's a winnable game. Everything just feels right for if they give the right effort. You could have like a 3-0 shutout for Joey or something. Don't even worry about scoring a ton. That's a team you can just shut down, and you'll probably get a couple goals along the way. You can play Lane Lambert hockey, and it should work against those guys.
Right. JTB Hockey with the super chat here. Appreciate that. Does Lambert feel defeated and out of options? Also, thoughts on Mason Marchment and his antics. Do we make a trade or finally defer to the kids and prospects? So we'll go in order there, RJ. Do you think Lambert feels like he's out of options right now, lineup wise anyway?
To me, he certainly, again, just in that 1 minute we had with him, he certainly looked more angry / frustrated than defeated. He didn't sound defeated. He sounded frustrated. So that, I'd take frustrated over defeated at least. So that personally, based on what I saw.
I mean, I could see him thinking that he is running out of options just because of injuries at this
Oh no, I
point.
could see
Like
that too.
they are certainly limiting his options. And certainly if like a Montour injury is going to come down, like if I'm the coach, I don't know how I would respond to that. Certainly not well. And then as for Mason Marchment, RJ, your thoughts on that?
Should have been gone a little while ago. I mean, of course you want to hold out and get a good return as a GM. You can't just force the trade. But look, I think, aside from the Utah game where he took over in a couple moments, I think he has been a net negative to this team. And it wasn't the case at the start of the season. I think he was just a third line player who had to play a first line role and so looked a little worse there, as is to be expected. But the last, I don't know, we'll say 7 or 8 games for Mason Marchment, I think he has actually been a net negative for this team. I mean, with the turnovers all the time. I think about on the Avs goal, the Girard goal there, Marchment, he's got 2 steps on Ross Colton. He probably already went through this play, but he's got 2 steps on Ross Colton. He's got to win that race to the puck. Instead, he loses the puck battle. He loses his stick, and in trying to tackle the Avalanche player, takes out his own teammate, Matty Beniers, and the Avs have numbers in the zone, and they score. It's messy right now. He just doesn't look good.
It is. And, involved in the scuffle that potentially got Brandon Montour hurt.
That's true. I mean, if that didn't start and everything, then maybe Montour doesn't get hurt. And again, I still don't like, because he never really dropped his gloves in that one either. So he was trying to throw full haymaker punches with his gloves still on. Just drop the gloves, man. You got to drop the gloves. Manson dropped the gloves. Just go and fight with somebody. Square up, dude.
Right, because that's one of those things, like, if he squares up right away, then him and Manson go, and nobody else probably gets involved, right? But because he doesn't drop the gloves, Manson has to just charge him, tackle him, and that's when then things escalate, and that's when then you get the Montour Brent Burns situation develops. Like, it is just one of those, like, it's weird to me that there's a hockey player that would play as on the edge as he does without wanting to go out, without understanding that at times he's going to have to answer for it.
Yeah. And even this one, he was on the other side of it too, because he got hit into the boards by Manson earlier in the game. I think he was a little frustrated by that. So he's going after the other guy. Do you want to fight or not?
Right. I know. Got to just make the call. We got another super chat here from Olivia, and it'll kind of tie into that last section from JTB Hockey super chat. So I'm going to go ahead and read out the Olivia one here. Do we see a vet sit in response for the Calgary game, assuming Marchment and Monty are healthy? And the end of course, JTB Hockey's super chat was, do we make a trade or finally defer to the kids and prospects? So RJ, do you think we see somebody sit for that Calgary game and we start seeing that transition to the kids?
Now, normally I'd say yes. I mean, after the reaction for this one, you'd expect some kind of scratch that would make waves a little bit. The one thing that has me questioning that, though, is also just the bug going through the team and how sick some of these guys still are. And, being around here at home, I wasn't here for the Buffalo game on Sunday. But being around here, you kind of get the sense and hear of how things are going. This team was more ill than a lot of people knew over the last couple games, and I think they're still dealing with some of that. And so I don't know that they can afford to. I mean, maybe they scratch a veteran who is also sick. Maybe you want to do something like that, but that's what gives me pause. Is I don't know if they can afford to, just health-wise.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing, though, that then makes the response tonight so curious, which is you put up this effort against an Av team and you're not healthy. Like that a bunch of guys are either currently sick or recovering from being sick, right? Like that's what it also like kind of, if ever there was a time for you to feel like maybe, you could get cut some slack, it would be now. But again, if the front office is under different pressures or they're putting pressure in a different way, then I guess not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it feels like we've had this conversation a few times over the last couple of years where after a game like this, we're like, well, if it's this game in isolation, then it's fine, right? It's not bad. You can lose a game like this and there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
But in the context, what you can't do is lose the game to Buffalo. What you can't do is lose so many of these games you can't lose that game to Columbus when they're sick and they were, as bad off as you are now, probably worse. those are the games you can't lose. And so you focus on those, but then it all adds up and it just gets muddy.
Yeah. Now I promised everybody that you would talk about the Shane Wright line.
Yes.
If you could still be excited and happy
Oh,
about
I can.
something, I said my piece on them. I talked about them on the debrief after the game the other night. But your thoughts on that line, because I know that they had you definitely excited up here on the bridge.
I know. I was leaning forward in my chair whenever they were out there on the ice. I absolutely loved what I saw from that line. And I had a question ready to go for Lambert had Bob not asked about it right away, but I think we all kind of saw how good that line was in this game with Shane Wright, Yanni Newman, and Capo Caco. Just the way they were tilting the ice on the Avs, even against the Nathan McKinnon line sometimes. I really liked the two big bodies you have in Capo Caco and Yanni Newman, just able to work down low in the corners behind the net and have the vision to go out and look and find plays, whether it's net front, which again, that's where Shane Wright should be, right? In the slot, net front, that's the spot for him. Or back to the point, you generate some chances, go into the net. I just love how the three of them work together. And then on that Shane Wright goal too, where they get the puck up the ice really quick. Love the shooting mentality from Shane there. I think he hits Newman, his own teammate, in front of the net. So, it doesn't go exactly how he wanted, but then he circles back around and goes to the net and he gets rewarded for being in the right place. That line was just doing so many things correctly in this game. I want to see that together. I want to see him get more ice time too, because they definitely played on as the third line by ice time. Here's where I will potentially excuse it, though. I think they got some of the easier matchups. I think that was part of the plan from Lambert this morning. He talked about wanting that Stevenson's line was going to get a lot of McKinnon, going to get a lot of the tough matchups. And I think you had that right line kind of feast on some of the lower down matchups in the Avs lineup against that forward group. So I understand the third line ice time, but I mean, I think Shane has earned some more opportunity with this game, and it's also Newman. Like, let the young guys have a little bit more runway. I know Newman got benched, for a turnover a couple games ago, but I think he did more than enough to overturn that and earn some opportunity.
Yeah. I think we're going to do two more questions here. I already have them picked out because, one, I have a flight tomorrow morning. So I do need to get out of here at some point. And also, frankly, as great as the conversation is here in chat, it's a lot of questions that I don't think RJ and I can answer right now. Right. As far as like the bigger picture stuff. And I think we're just going to kind of have to wait and see over the next couple of days. But the two here are, first one from Maddie. Do you think Cart Scratch was a matchup choice or an illness thing? I mean, that's another one I don't know that we could totally answer, but do you just have an idea, RJ, in your mind, which it was?
I mean, I know the names of some of the players who have been sick over these last few days. Parche wasn't one of the ones mentioned, but it would not surprise me because there's just so many guys. So I'm not sure, but it could be either. And I think it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters a ton either. And either he's sick or, frankly, like, given what this team needed to do tonight and their struggle to score goals, like, it would make sense to have, say, Yanni Newman in the lineup over him right now.
Or even rewarding Jacob Melanson for how well he played last game and keeping him in the lineup. I think that probably had more to do with it.
Yeah. He's just does the same thing, fills the same role. And then last one here from Striatic, and other people have said this is a good question. I agree. If the tank starts now, who gets traded first? And even if it's not a full-on tank, RJ, but if there was some sort of mandate from the front office for this game, or the team recognizes over the Christmas break they need to start transitioning, what domino do you think is the first one to fall?
I think it should be Marchment, but you're selling kind of low right now. That's a good question.
I don't know that a lot of teams would care. Like, I think he's the kind of player that it doesn't really matter.
I agree with that. I feel like it's not going to be the guy that we necessarily think. Maybe Alexiak, because you have Mahura who can just kind of slot in there. I think it changes the least, given just who you have. So maybe Alexiak.
It should be
the thing is, he's a really good fit for this Lane Lambert system and the whole plan of trying to squeak into a playoff spot. If you're not doing that, he doesn't do you much good.
Right. An expiring deal, you need to get some value for him. And he does have value out there. Like, I think if Botterill was to pick up the phone or send out a group text saying, hey, 24's on the, on the board here, he would get messages back.
Oh yeah. NHL GMs, who doesn't want a 6'7" defenseman, who can potentially even play upwards of 17, 18 minutes a night if you need him to, potentially be a second pair guy in a pinch, better third pair guy. Like, that's a coveted type of player. I feel like most GMs also don't know that he doesn't play that physically. They just see the size and then like, I want that.
Yeah. I had to really bite my tongue when you listed off his height there, by the way. Just letting you know,
you're right.
I sacrificed for you and I sacrificed for everybody in the audience. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's Emerald City Hockey Post Game Live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Do you have the torrent specials, RJ? You want to talk about those real quick?
They're on my phone, which is also the camera. Let's see if I can remember though. I believe they still have the same as the Kraken game, $5 smash burger after every torrent game. I believe that's the case. And then they also have what is it? It's like the
$8 beer, right?
Beer, yeah. That's what it is. So
one, so it's those. And again, everybody, they got merch pop up as well during their watch parties for games. So definitely check out Queen Anne Beer Hall for these torrent games and head there after the torrent games as they take over Climate Pledge for the next 2 weeks, basically, when we factor in the break. So
yeah, if you want a team with good vibes around them.
I was gonna say, if you need a palate cleanser for sure, go to one of these torrent games. It's cheaper to get in the building, so you don't feel like you got that issue, and you're gonna see some good hockey, and you're gonna see a very competitive Seattle-based team when you see it. That's going to do it for the post game. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Reminder, live game commentary for that next one in Calgary. I'm sure there's going to be lots for us to discuss during the course of that game. It's going to be very interesting to see how this team responds to everything, and we'll see if 62 is in the lineup. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you all next time.